From the ashes of the old world, in the shadows of the last great war, the world was shattered by magic. Plains became deserts, mountains crumbled into the sea. Witches and heretics are burned in the street, lined with oathbreakers hung by their necks. Where once was law, order, empire, now only hardship and savagery remain. To the east, in Highport, a weary king rules an ungrateful people. To the west, his brother keeps swords sheathed and words of rebellion at bay. To the north and south, savage elves and cowardly dwarves openly practice arcane arts, shrouded by leaf and stone. In a time when a man's worth is measured by his word, when might makes right, and a quick death is a mercy, only those more foolish than brave venture far from home. The age of peace and prosperity has ended. In its place, only strife.
Why, hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Age of Strife. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah,
Good.
pretty good.
Good.
Excited.
Good.
Had to start with a yawn.
So last week we had some technical difficulties, which is why it was only 2 parts instead of 4, and ended on kind of the middle of something. So let's recap where we were last week so we can pick up where we left off. Does anyone remember what was going on last week?
A lot of sheriff talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some torture going on,
Yes.
too.
I wouldn't call it torturing.
Yeah,
It
I'd
was
call it
like-
a good old-fashioned beating on a one-hit-point guy.
Well, what was going on then, if it wasn't torture?
Attempted torture, but things just didn't work out. Things
Yeah.
didn't work out.
He was a tough nut.
You need to introduce waterboarding.
We never got a chance to really get him in a place where we could get what we wanted, you know.
So, what did we do? There were a couple of important things that happened last week.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but some noble came to the estate and surprised Luther into accepting to go find his son.
Right. Do we remember
Lithmans.
which family that was?
The listening, I think.
There we go.
Yeah.
Lithman family. What's wrong with his son?
Kidnapped by centaurs?
They went to the Lithman, the heir of the Lithman, or the head of the Lithman house was, I believe, at Thornwatch Keep with his son doing noble type things. And while they were doing the noble type things, his son, being a little bit adventurous, took the horses out outside of the keep and was riding around and never returned.
Right. He was off with his bodyguard, going for a stroll on horseback, and just never showed back up.
And they think he was taken by the horse people.
Yeah. The centaurs have been known to take hostages and prisoners in the past, and they live in the River Grove, so that's kind of the area he was in. That's what it looks like was going on. And while Luther was talking to Rilmi Lithman, Tiberodite was getting into some trouble with the sheriff's station.
Yes, Tiberodite was trying to interrogate and torture Bluebeard. Unfortunately, the sheriff was there, and Tiberodite and the sheriff aren't on the best of terms. The sheriff really wasn't giving Tiberodite his leeway in the torture. Really, the whole scene became more about Tiberodite and the sheriff arguing. When Tiberodite finally did get his hands on Bluebeard, it didn't really work out. Every time Tiberodite tried to do anything to him, he went unconscious again. And then at one point, when Tiberodite actually got to interact and have a conversation with him, the blue-bearded man started like mumbling something kind of freaked Tiberodite out. Tiberodite was skeptical that the man really wasn't a spellcaster. With the mumbling, that kind of changed his perception. Tiberodite assumed that he was a spellcaster, then knocked him down, knocked him out, looked at everybody in the room trying to figure out what to do with this. Tiberodite got the idea to tie a rope around his neck, and when he wakes up, if he tried to say anything or do anything, Tiberodite could pull on the rope and
break his spell casting with
Yeah.
a rope around the neck. So the interrogation has not gone well.
No.
The man known colloquially as Bluebeard has proved fairly resilient to torture and kind of an asshole, maybe a little bit. Then again, you are trying to torture him, so a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I think everyone is still in the room, and Mr. Bluebeard is unconscious with a rope now around his neck.
Last I remember, the sheriff had pretty much kicked us out, and
right.
we had just said our goodbyes, and he said he was going to cut out the Bluebeard's tongue that evening.
Right, that's what it was. He doesn't want any spellcasters doing anything. Right, there had been some unpleasantries back and forth between the family and the sheriff. So the sheriff will be removing Bluebeard's tongue to prevent any more witchcraft from going on, which is a safe move for him, and the town can't have nasty sorcerers bringing down fireballs. So you guys walking out from the sheriff's station, where do you go?
We step out, and I believe Tiberodite actually stepped out before everybody else. Was ran off by dear sister. So I think when everyone comes out, Tiberodite's kind of standing against the wall, waiting for everybody, and he just looks so.
Well, that went well.
The sheriff is not a pleasant man.
Is not a what, sorry?
He's not very pleasant.
No, he has the etiquette of a peasant. It shows through. That's why it should only be nobles or those who deserve the responsibility of the burden of power should be in those sorts of positions.
He does have the safety of the town in his best interest, though. It's a big place, and he's got a lot to work with.
Does he? There was something strange about the exchange we saw just before.
Oh, what? That person. Did you know him?
No.
I recognized him from the brew house. I've
Really?
seen him before. Yes. I don't know who he is, though.
Perhaps we should go see what was going on there. Maybe the sheriff isn't. Not only is he not a pleasant man, maybe he's not a principled man either.
Yes, that's certainly important, but I do have other news. I went back to the house earlier, as you all know, and shit, I forgot the family's name again.
Immersion broken.
Our neighbors came by and asked us to go retrieve his son. He was out adventuring, and where was it? It was out by the fort to the south, I believe. He was out on a stroll, something like that. Yes, Thornwatch. He was out on a stroll and disappeared. And there's a suspicion that it may be the centaurs.
It's interesting to know that there are other people willing to go out and adventure.
Yes, that surprised me as well.
Well, regardless, we sort of have our hands tied with this Bluebeard. However, that door seems to have shut.
Yes, and I did accept his request to go save his son. So,
do we need to go now, or can that wait until the morning?
He wanted us to be very quick about it for reasons you can imagine, but I believe we can take a day at most before we leave. Maybe find out what's up with the man from the Blue House.
Yes, that's worth doing.
I look around. Is there a lot of people around us right now, Neil?
Yeah, you guys are in the middle of town. You know, you're right near the central market. You're kind of on a bit of a smaller road, but there's still plenty of travel going back and forth along this. If I can bring up the map again.
Okay.
You'll see that the sheriff's place is, right near the central market, and there's a big road there and some small roads, but that's a lot of traffic comes through this part of the region.
Maybe we should talk somewhere more private.
Yes, of course.
Let's head up to the brewers and walk and talk as we go.
Okay.
So once the streets are a bit dead,
I think the entire route to the brew house is actually going to be pretty busy. You're walking through the heart of town.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if we're walking and talking and mingling, then as long as we're circumspect, no one will really be able to hear us.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to listen while we're walking.
All right.
So follow up this angle, looking to Luther. Follow up this angle you have. If it doesn't pan out, I think we need to remove whatever obstacles stand in our way with Bluebeard.
Well, I was considering that as well, though not for any calculated reason. But
If his tongue is removed, our chances of finding the biggest haul from Nixon that our father ever had goes significantly down the drain.
how will we make him talk, even if we do save his tongue?
What if we give
Maybe
him
he can read
chance
and write, I don't
to
know.
survive? Like, we could, if we bust him out of the jail, say, then maybe if he's not facing death, he won't be so, hard, and he might actually crack. Possible.
You want to release the man that was responsible for blinding our father?
No. I
he's
don't
going
want to release him. I want him to talk.
Maybe give him the illusion that he will be released.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Like, if we actually got him out the cell, that would be the illusion, but we wouldn't let him leave anything out of our sights.
If we got him out of the cell, then that's not an illusion, that's reality.
Yeah, but then our weapons are the reality as well, and we could just put him down.
Also, looking to Luther, he may be a little bit more willing to cooperate if it was not our faces doing the deed, not our faces talking to him.
Possibly, but he would surely be very suspicious of people asking these questions.
Well, brother, I mean, you've always been able to talk out of your ass, so the most intelligent things you've ever said. It's something your normal plan.
I only worry about us overstepping our bounds. I don't think many people would be very pleased if something happened to the sheriff in this breakout.
Well, I'm just thinking about that, and if perhaps the sheriff isn't that principled, then when we find out about that, then, well, we own him. That would give us the respect that we deserve, and he'll actually go out drinking with me, as he should have.
You do have a point.
But we are perhaps putting the horse before the cart.
Yes.
Or the cart before the horse.
We should take care of this house business and see what we can find out.
Hey, perhaps we can kill two birds with one stone. If we need to go to the centaurs, then we need something for them. And I think they like alcohol more than, well, me. Perhaps you could arrange some sort of a delivery for the centaurs that we could take up there. Give us a reason to be up there in the first place.
You may be right. That may be the best way to take care of this business, if indeed it is the centaurs that took this boy.
And if the Lithmans really love their son, they can pay for the shipment.
Yes, I I was promised 100 gold, and I just quickly accepted it so I could get back to the sheriff's station. But I think you would all agree that saving a noble son might be worth a bit more.
Yes, obviously he's not the most loved son.
Do you think you can keep up with a centaur with the ale?
I've never met a
I
centaur.
don't believe I can.
Have you ever seen a horse drink?
No, but seen a horse.
Around this time is when you guys are passing the swamp wash and coming straight up to the brew house.
Well, shall we?
Yeah, I just head up and knock on the door.
All right. A few moments later, the door opens. There is your father-in-law standing at the door that opens into his large warehouse, and he sees you guys and backs up immediately. Says, "Come in! I wasn't expecting to see you."
Yes, Father, we have a few orders of business today, so...
Well, what can I do for you? Come in.
Okay, I guess we head in there, and I immediately ask about the person I saw at the sheriff. And I say, I'm sure I've seen him in here before. There's something distinct about his face.
Aha. Yes, well... You see, this is a bit of a rough part of town over here, and
Yes.
there's a certain amount of security that can be bought. The
sheriff
gentleman
doesn't
in
provide.
question helps provide protection.
So, this man is the middleman between you and the sheriff, then?
I don't think he has any dealings with our dear beloved sheriff in town.
Well, the whole reason I came to you is that I saw him there, paying the sheriff.
Oh.
Seemed like a sizable amount of money.
Can I break in there? If not the sheriff, who do you get protection from?
This is a bit of an embarrassing topic, but there is a lack of protection provided by the sheriff and his men internally within Wadsworth. They do a fine job of keeping
Yes,
monsters out, but
we're no friend to the sheriff. Just
Well-
between you and me.
certain gangs within town control certain areas, and for a
Oh,
taxation fee, they keep those areas safe from others as long as we continue to pay our protection.
speaking of that, what? Just by chance, if you know, what area did the gang that we just destroyed control?
I'm not particularly well versed in these street politics. You see, I'm a businessman. I don't get involved in those things. I tend to pay the money and not look too closely. People who look too closely at things tend to get disappeared.
But you do have a gentleman that is more well versed in these street politics, obviously, if he's handling your protection money.
I mean, he is the collector for the people over here. You understand?
We'd love
So-
to know where to find him so we can have
Oh,
a chat.
please don't. I wouldn't want to cause any trouble. They could burn down everything.
Well, they
So,
wouldn't know it was you.
Allow me to interject with a few questions. So from what I gather from what you're telling us, there are multiple gangs throughout the city that control areas that the sheriff ignores. And
I wouldn't say ignores, but yes, more or less.
Well, you see, we do have authority over the sheriff. If he's not doing his job, it might be in our best interest to maybe see if we can have him replaced.
Sheriff before him did function quite the same, and the sheriff before her functioned quite the same. I don't want to cause any troubles. The troublemakers tend to have their houses ransacked, vandalized. They end up dead in the river.
Well, you're part of my family now, and if you ever have trouble, they'll know that they're creating trouble with me.
Still, it's better not to make waves. It's only 10 gold a month, and we bring in enough to cover it. It's a calculated expense now.
I was just thinking, if you are paying for this protection, do they give you some sort of guarantee against the other gangs who come in and just
Yes,
any violence?
Yes. As long as we continue to pay up our 10 gold, any other gangs that try to operate in this area are removed.
Good draw.
Are they efficient?
We haven't had any break-ins. We haven't had any robberies or vandalisms. Things have been, I wouldn't call them great, but it's been going well-ish.
Good draw, if I may. We really have no interest in you or your plight. Well, I mean, my brother may, but I certainly don't. What I do care about is my father, who actually caring is regardless. Our father is blind, and we are looking into this matter, and so we certainly don't want things to change for you. It's a system; it works, and if you're happy with it, and everyone sounds like a good business deal to me.
So, go on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, brother. Go on.
However, we do require the information. So instead of resisting your betters, perhaps you could assist us. But, brother, perhaps you could.
He's just trying to act in his best interest, and I'm sure he'll.
Absolutely. And so, Ruel, you have our assurances that we do not seek to change the status quo. We just need the information about it.
You won't be trying to remove these people?
No, we'd just like to have a chat and see what's going on.
Information and knowledge is power.
Okay. The gentleman comes by once a month. Simply come by. We paid up about 2 weeks ago. So in about 2 weeks, he should be coming back, like clockwork, every Sunday.
I'm afraid 2 weeks is not going to be sufficient, Brewer. I think today would suit us a lot better. But perhaps
I don't know how to reach him. As I said, I try not to look too closely at these things. I just have the money ready when he comes by every fourth Sunday.
His name?
Ash.
Ash.
You say you pay 10 gold every other Sunday.
Every fourth Sunday.
Every fourth Sunday. So how many people pay this 10 gold? Does every house around here?
As I said, I don't look too closely into these things. I would presume that we pay quite a bit more, considering.
That is understandable.
I don't know what others pay, but we do 10 gold, usually in silver.
Well, this is most disappointing.
I'm sorry, my lord. I wish I could offer you more help, but
you have nothing to apologize for.
You've done everything.
Very well.
I tried to keep my head down, not get involved, you know.
Very well. There is. I'm quite sure you would like to keep in our good stead. So perhaps there is something you can do. Perhaps there is something you can do.
I give him like a reassuring look, and I say, "My brother, he oversteps his bounds sometimes.
I overstep my bounds? No, not at all.
You are always in our good graces, my friend."
There is a way to increase that, though, and make things a lot better for, our relations.
There was another order of business we were here about.
Yes?
The Lithmans, our neighbors, they've their son is missing.
Oh,
We think he's been taken by centaurs down to the south. And I'm not sure if you know this, but centaurs, they do love their ale.
that is the rumor. We often say of a frequent customer that they drink like a centaur.
Yes, well, we thought we would take a shipment down to them and maybe trade him to the
See,
south. And we will be going back to the Lithmans and asking them to take care of this transaction. So you'll be paid in full,
fantastic.
and we just need some ale to take down.
I can. How would you like a barrel? Will that suffice?
More, and how much can you have by tomorrow?
Yes, we need quite a large amount. Not too much to put you in a place of trouble. Just as much as you can spare.
Well, I guess we don't really have the knowledge on how much we need. How much would traders normally take as a shipment to say centaurs?
Yeah, each barrel is about 40 gallons. I can't recall anyone actually ever buying any expressly for the purpose of delivering to centaurs, but a barrel of ale is quite a bit. Should serve a rowdy crowd or a good-sized crowd for a couple of nights.
Well, if one barrel is what you have, then one barrel should be.
We have many barrels. We produce dozens of barrels every week.
We just need enough to make us look like simple merchants.
Yes, and we would like to be in their good graces.
4 to 6 barrels would suffice for that.
Very well. We shall pick that up tomorrow.
I don't mean to pry, but barrels of ale are quite difficult to move.
Yes,
they're quite heavy.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to have a cart.
Very well.
How much should I be telling the Lithmans these barrels will run them?
5 gold each.
That sounds fine. Thank you.
Very good.
So a barrel of ale, just so you guys know, weighs 340 pounds.
So,
Jesus.
can 2 people lift that onto a cart?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. But not one person, really.
No.
Probably not.
You'd need a character with like 17 or 18 strength to do that.
I have 17.
And the last question then is, what is the name of the gang that you pay your protection money to?
I don't know their official name. We just call them the West Siders. That's just what we here in the household refer to them as. As I said, I tried to keep my head down.
I'm quite sure that somebody, one of your employees, will know. Perhaps you could request that information and pass it on to us, because the name of the group would be very handy.
Of course. I'll ask around the family, see if anyone has heard anything. I usually tell them not to. I usually tell them to keep their eyes and ears closed. You know, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, sort of thing.
Yes.
Very good. If you could ask them now, that would be most expedient.
Of course.
Well, just one more thing before we leave. You know Belle from the Swamp Wash, being your neighbor and all?
Yes.
Have you
Terrible
heard
business
anything
her.
about what's happening over there recently?
She was arrested. Her tavern robbed and ransacked. Has been trying to put her business back together, but she doesn't. She's been asking for a temporary loan of ale until she can sell enough to pay it back. But I think that's too risky of a venture. I think that she's going to have to sell.
I see. Do you know of anyone who might be in the market for just like the Swamp Wash?
I don't think there's many people around here who can afford a place like
Indeed.
that.
Well, if just as some speculation, if we were to purchase the Swamp Wash and you ran it with your ale and all that, how do you think that would be profitable? Or
I don't know the first thing about running a tavern. I'm not too good with people, as you might imagine. I like to, you know, I just like to brew.
yes, we could always hire Bell back or someone else possibly to run the place. Just how much do you think owning the Swamp Wash would make us? Because we are nobles and we would like to get some businesses going, if at all possible.
Wouldn't know the first thing about that, but I suppose if you hired somebody to run it for you, the earnings would be fairly meager.
I see. Well, thank you for your insight.
It's a rough sort of place. A lot of frequent repairs.
Yes, it's not the easiest part of town.
I think Belle had done fairly well in the past because she paid special attention to certain people and always made sure to pay up her protection money. I fear an establishment owned by the likes of you, no offense, of course, would be less well visited out here and more frequently disturbed, if you understand my meaning.
Yes, you may be right. Well, thank you for your insight.
Of course, my lords. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
I believe that's it.
Yes, find the name of the gang. I shall wait until you have retrieved that information.
I will go ask my eldest son immediately. Please make yourselves comfortable. I think there's a barrel over there that's already tapped, if you would like a glass or two. Or however much you would like. Of course.
Lovely, thank you.
Thanks.
When he walks out of the room, I immediately look to Luther. So, brother, these gangs, I think, are a lot like the encampments I was raised in. When one falls, another goblin will quickly take its place.
Yes, I expected as much.
What if we took over that power gap?
Well, that would certainly be illegal.
And it certainly fits with your understanding of politics as you've just prescribed it.
Oh, if that does happen sometime in the future, which we do have things to take care of now, so it's not an immediate problem, but if that does happen, we would have to be very secretive about it.
And I think if we do get our hands dirty in all of this, we may want to leave your family out of it as much as possible until we have something secure.
Yes, definitely.
Wait, did you just say your family?
What do you mean?
This is our family. Remember?
Well, that's true, but they're most directly related to me.
All right.
Stefan over there could have fooled me.
Yes.
Look, you've been fooling all of us for a very long time, brother. I say as I tap the barrel and get stuck in.
Okay. The brewer comes back a few minutes later, saying, "My son, as predicted, as sons tend to do, has completely disobeyed my orders and actually knows quite a bit about these fools. He says that they go by the name the Bloody Trolls, and that this Ashman is not just their collector, but one of the... I forget the word he used, but one of the ranking officers, although not the head of them. He says they operate out of the northwestern part of town. does not know their headquarters. Pretty much everything west of the northern market and north of the river. I believe they're the ones who have been collecting on Belle as well. Of course, I mean, she's just across the street. Of course, she's the one.
Very good. That information is all that we needed. Thank you. Thank you. And this barrel, thank you very much.
You're most welcome, my lordshipness.
How heavy is the barrel?
It's mostly full, so it's like 280 pounds.
Perhaps if you could get one of your sons to send it up to my room, that would be, well,
Are you
very
making
nice.
a purchase?
Purchase?
Yes, he is. He's.
I don't.
Or
I'm afraid
I
this
am making a
relationship
purchase
is.
for him.
Oh,
Wonderful.
brother, I appreciate that.
I will immediately have some of my workers bring that over to your estate. Would you like a fresh one instead?
Perhaps
I glance over at him.
perhaps something a little nicer than this swill.
We have a lovely red.
Oh yes, now you're talking my language.
Very well. We'll bring
You're a good man.
we'll bring down the eagle feather for you. Can I show you out?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, my lords. And he shuffles you guys out the door. And then as he shuts it behind him, you can hear calls for this son or that son to go bring down this barrel and send it over. As you guys stand on that corner between the swamp wash and the brew house.
Well, very good. Let's head back to the sheriff before he deigns to cut off Bluebeard's tongue, thus rendering him unable to speak.
Well, firstly, I believe we have something to discuss. In there, we learned that a ranking officer in this gang, the Bloody Trolls, is paying the sheriff money, assumedly, to avoid prosecution.
That would make sense, which means we own him.
Yes, that sounds quite illegal indeed.
What? We're not doing anything illegal.
No, it's the sheriff
doing
is
it
doing something
illegal.
illegal.
As the sheriff beforehand and the sheriff beforehand did. I'm good. You know, the little people, let them play in their little fish pond. But we get the sheriff, and we get the respect that we deserve from the sheriff.
Yes, I believe we have Bluebeard's tongue's day of execution. We should talk to the
Before we confront this information to the sheriff, though, need to pose it as a threat, because obviously he knows that he's been taking these bribes, and he could easily say that we just we don't know anything, and but what we need to do is make sure that we have some sort of connection to the person who's paying the sheriff. No. Is it like employing the sheriff?
No, sister, you're such an innocent. No. The sheriff knows he's doing the wrong thing, and the sheriff will know that we know. We don't need proof. It's just the perception proof. And we're not going to wait 2 Sundays to get that proof, so it's not something we can really chase down in any case, especially if we're going to be heading out tomorrow. So, but what we can do is we can approach the sheriff and let him know that we know, and from there we can, own him and get the stay of the execution for Bluebeard.
We need to stop in by thread and needle before we go into the sheriff's office.
What are you after?
Well,
Take up sewing.
if Bluebeard doesn't have his tongue removed, he still needs silence. I want to sew his mouth shut.
All right.
The practicalities of that. How long can a man live without food?
I think you can go a little while without food.
You can also just cut the strings and open his mouth back up if you need to.
Well, brother, you are the expert on that, so...
He can starve while we're out of town, and then whenever we get back, he'll be in. I'm sure he'll be more willing to talk then.
we should be a bit careful with the sewing of mouths, and I don't think we would want the whole town to know that we do such things. So
He's
if
a
it is
wizard.
something we'll do, it will have to be on the down low.
Well, I mean, the other thing is would you like to get the information from him tonight, or shall we wait until our return?
Tonight, and we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, then I'll sew his mouth shut.
Just do your best tonight, because I'd like to get some sleep and make sure all of our gears and donkeys are set up ready in the morning.
Yes,
also, by my calculation, we're going to need 3 carts.
Yes, we need to make sure we can get the carts.
Well.
We need to talk to the Lithmans about the ale. We need to talk to the sheriff. And I believe
we can get all that done. Let's just head to the sheriff's now.
Yes, I believe we should. After that, we should.
After I get my thread and needle, maybe I'll get some razor blades too.
Yes.
And some hooks while you're there, because why not?
Okay.
Files.
So the party is gonna split up to go get more torture tools, and
Yeah, I think when they go to get the torture implements, I'll go talk to the Lithmans and see if we can work this out.
okay. So Luther's going to the Lithmans. Tiberodite is going to go get needle, thread, razors, hooks, other implements of destruction. What about Ginger and Stefan?
I will be going to find some carts. Tiberodite said 3 carts, and we have 2 donkeys, so we might have to find an extra donkey.
Also, maybe you should pick up like supplies for going out.
Yeah, I can do that as well while I find these carts.
And make a list of everything we're getting during the break.
Did you want just out of the game? Did you guys want me to go to the sheriff then alone, or did you want to wait and convene for that together?
Yeah, we need to convene for that. So that should be like the last thing of the day, I think.
Okay. Stefan, where were you going?
I'm heading with Luther.
Okay. So let's do Luther and Stefan first. You guys make your way through the town and over towards the Lithman estate, which is just across the street from yours.
Yes.
Okay.
So I just head on up and knock on the door.
Okay. You open the gate, walk through the gardens before the estate, which are quite nice, definitely nicer than yours. And up to the front door, which a butler opens, or a footman really opens, giving you a slight nod with the head and motions you inward. It leads you to a parlor before even asking what it is that you are doing here. And then says, what can I do for you, my lords?
We're here to speak to Lord Lithman, but possibly you could take care of it if you've been given that much authority. It's about rescuing his son.
Yes, I shall go find his lordship at once.
Thank you.
The footman walks off, and 5 minutes later, the same guy that you spoke to before, Rilmi Lithman, heads into the room next to you guys, or into the room with you guys, and looks about. Gentlemen, I thought we had finished our business.
Yes, well, we are in the process of making our preparations, and we've learned that centaurs like ale very much. And so we were thinking that what better way to get your son back safely than to make a trade? So tomorrow we'll be heading down to see the centaurs with 6 barrels of ale, and we will attempt to trade them for your son.
Very good.
Since he's your son, we figured you would be the one paying for the ale. If that's fine with you, Lord Lithman.
Of course. Is that all? Is that the only matter that
Yes.
you've come for?
That's all. Just to inform you of our plans and make sure that you're fine with them.
I'm sure that will be fine. Of course, I hope you understand that I will cover these expenses once I have my son back.
That is fine.
Yes, that's fair enough.
Well then, if there's nothing else, I have matters to attend. Bruce here will show you out, he says, kind of motioning to one of the footmen behind him.
All right, guess we head on out.
Okay. On the other side of town, Tiberodite, I don't think we need to really do any role-playing with shopping for supplies.
Nope.
Needle and thread, and you wanted some razor blades?
I'm actually going to pick up a tinderbox, a cooking skillet, charcoal, thread, needle, razor blades, and a hammer.
All right, well, you know the costs and weight of all those things, and I'll let you take care of the details.
You know, can I just say, I'm a little bit worried about how much preparation you've done into this week.
Look, man, I have been PM'd by countless people in the community sending me like YouTube links of like torture videos. There's been some scary stuff I've been sent.
I think you've got the darker heart of the fan base.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Ginger, what's up? What are you doing?
So I believe Tiberodite has told me that we need 3 carts. Would there be some sort of bigger alternative, like a wagon that could hold all of it together?
The wagon was quite a bit more expensive, I think.
Let's see. Each
3
open
carts would be
cart
sick.
can carry 1,000 pounds. An open wagon can carry 2,000 pounds, or open or covered wagon.
The cart. Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's fine. Cart can carry 1,000 pounds, and it costs 20 gold. A wagon can carry 2,000 pounds and costs 50 gold. So,
I think 3 barrels is just over 2,000, right? They're what, 340 pounds each?
I think 6 barrels was. I had it written down. 2,020 pounds.
Yeah, so just over.
Yeah.
2020.
We could just drink a little bit, like
Yeah,
20
yeah, sure.
pounds.
Like,
I'm
why
sure
don't we
that's
just
gonna happen anyway.
just open one of them on and then just
We start off the journey at movement
At
rate
maximum
9.
level.
By the time we get there, it's movement rate 12.
so can we get the wagon and then just like start drinking one of the barrels before we put it on?
well, you need to drink like 40 pounds of ale.
And we still
And then
have
no one
our
would be
weight
able to ride the wagon
from
either.
gear.
Maybe we can refill one. It's true that you can't ride it.
All right. Are 2 donkeys enough to take to move this wagon, or do we need some sort of horses?
I think the pulling weight of the donkey. What was the pulling weight of the donkey? The pulling weight of the donkey, so it's 900, 1,800, 2,700.
So 2 donkeys can pull 3,600 pounds at half speed. And the weight of the wagon is 250 pounds. So 2 donkeys can pull a wagon at a full wagon at half speed.
Okay.
It's not too bad. Well, I
So-
guess we do want to be a bit quick to get there.
Well, I mean,
What
carts usually go pretty slowly.
Yeah, pulling 6 barrels of ale. It's not going to be fast.
do we have to take all the barrels of ale
No.
in this trip? No.
Yeah, I think 6 barrels is probably a bit overkill, and we just kind of went for it anyway.
Yeah, but you can just store them for
We're
later.
not paying for it.
Yeah.
Tell them that we have more coming, and it will kind of work on building a relationship with them.
Possibly.
Yeah. All right. So the wagon is 50 gold, and we've got donkeys.
Yeah, we have one.
We need supplies for the journey, food.
Yeah.
Does that go into monthly expenses, or should I just like count some numbers for it?
If you're taking adventuring money or adventuring food, buy some rations. Monthly expenses kind of cover the repair of your things, the upkeep of your house, paying for your servants, paying for the meals that you have at home.
Okay. So we've got 4 people, and possibly someone we're bringing back. So how many rations do we need?
It shouldn't be that long of a journey, right? It should take like a day, maybe 2 days.
If we're at half speed, it'd be a bit longer, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
Let's take a look. So from Wadsworth, it's 16 miles as the crow flies, but of course you got to go around the river. So 2 miles around, and then 14 miles or so to get there. Then you're gonna have to go near the swamp. If you want to avoid the swamp, it's gonna be a little bit more. But so let's just call it like 18 miles if you take a nice safe route away from the swamp. That's something you could make in 2 days with the donkeys going at half speed, I think.
Okay.
Donkey moves at 12. And, well, the terrain's not great. It's not paved road, so it might actually take you 3 days to get there with the wagon.
Would there be a trail from Wadsworth to Thornwatch Keep?
Yeah. There would be... Yeah, there would be a trail. You could probably make it to Thornwatch Keep in a day, and then in maybe a half day from Thornwatch Keep to River Grove. Yeah, so maybe a day and a half, actually. It's a good point.
So I think we'll take 20 lots of rations, which weigh 4 each. That's a lot.
That is a lot, Jesus.
But that's just a little bit more than we'd need just in case we get lost or something.
Yeah.
Hey, Neil.
Yep.
You don't have tongs on your gear list. Would I be able to get a set of tongs?
Yeah, are you just talking like a set of plier-like tongs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blacksmiths would have them anyway.
Yeah.
Would it just be like, I'm assuming like 1 gold, 1 pound?
Let's see. Tongs are, I think a gold and maybe a half pound.
Okay.
Okay, so 20 lots of rations is 4 gold. And do we need something to carry that in? Should I add in some extra money for
I
a
think
big
we can just put
basket,
it on
or is that in the wagon? All right, so we've got the wagon for 50, all the rations for 4. We've got our donkeys, and we're taking 3 barrels. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I'll take them to our estate and have them set up for it in the morning, and make sure that everyone's weapons and armors are set up. And as soon as someone arrives back at the house to call for me, I'll get my healing kit and head off with them.
Yeah.
All right. So
I
are
guess
we
like-
heading to the sheriff's?
Yeah, we're all gonna reconvene and head to the sheriff's.
Okay, so eventually...
I put on my armor to do this.
Eventually, everyone shows back up at the estate. Ginger has bought a wagon.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've already got the donkeys on hand. So you've got the wagon and the donkeys at the estate. Tiberidite has gathered all of his tools of destruction. And Luther and Stefan have talked to the Lithmans, and you've all gathered back at your estate, ready to go talk to the sheriff and see what you can do. But let's deal with that on the other side of our break. So we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Bye-bye.